Hello students, and welcome back to another course on the Iron Kingdoms with, of course, me, Professor Castor. We've gotten to the sections of War Beast and Warjacks of Circle, Obros, and Khador, respectively. Also, stay tuned at the end of this episode. We're going to be discussing the new Mark IV versions of each of these guys, if they are available to us at this time, as well as seeing what the difference is between their Mark III counterparts. Also, please leave a like at the beginning of this video. It does help with the faculty and administration, aka the YouTube algorithm, as we are all aware. And let's begin. Alrighty, moving on to the Destroyer, Khador Heavy Warjack. Initial service date 537 AR or 480 AR, depending on which particular chassis type you like. Height 11 feet 7 inches. Weight 9.5 tons. Fuel load 815 pounds. General use 4 hours. Combat use 50 minutes. I suppose since this guy is usually a standback jack, he doesn't use that much power. His armaments include his bombard cannon and an executioner axe, which is pretty phenomenal. Let's begin. Compared to the other nations, Khador's technological advancement of warjacks has been slow, mostly because the country's mechanics build their warjacks to last. A prime example is the Destroyer, which has served in various iterations as the premier Khadoran siege assault warjack for over 100 years, gaining popular fame in the First Thornwood War. The whistling of its shells arcing overhead is a prelude to destruction, heralding the thunderous blasts that tear apart everything in the target's vicinity. The Destroyer's current design has not changed for over 70 years, but the series goes back as far as 480 AR. Even with antiqued armaments, these impressive early jacks shelled Signarin fortifications from across the Dragon's Tongue River. Improvements to the bombed cannon in 537 AR cemented the Destroyer as a centerpiece of Khadoran war engineering. Though most famous for its role in delivering a punishing bombardment, the Destroyer is no less formidable when engaged in close combat. Its designers did not skimp on armor. Its iron-plated chassis is as heavy as a juggernaut and provides formidable protection. One mighty stroke from the Destroyer's axe can shear entire limbs from enemy warjacks, which I've seen. And when they say enemy warjacks, that works on every enemy warjack I've seen it go up against, or war beast for that matter, and it's usually very messy on both ends. Like, for whatever reason, I don't know how the Mechanica did it, but they created an axe that, can occasionally just slice through things like butter. Whether it's enemy armor, humans, warjacks, war beasts, you name it, it can get through it. However, its bombard cannon is probably the most useful tool just because the range is the equivalent of a standard sniper from way far away. However, its targeting array is definitely a lot to be desired, because most of the time when a Destroyer is shooting, you're more hoping that it hits the target rather than, assured that you're going to smack right dab into it. But has a blasting range, so that does take a lot of the, accuracy issues away. All right, let's move on. Alrighty, and the Mark III to Mark IV cousins. As most of these guys, speed's still the same, although they do move 5 inches faster, which is phenomenal. Their mat's still the same at 7, rat's still the same at a pitiful 4, defense still the same at 10, arm at 20. One of the biggest changes, well, I wouldn't call it a big change, it's more of just wording. Arcing fire has been changed, so models with arcing fire just ignore intervening models altogether. It doesn't have to be within 1 inch, it's every intervening model. They don't have to worry about it because they're shooting over it. And critical amputation is the same. So basically the same warjack, just as deadly, just a different setup. Alrighty students, well that does it for this particular warjack. And if you could, please like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know if you've ever fought alongside these particular warjacks or if you've ever gone against them. Because honestly, I would hate to have to go up against these particular warjacks, but that is the terms of war, and I'm glad I am retired. And as always, your homework is please tell your friends and fellow gamers about this particular podcast so that we can keep increasing the class size and keep this particular train rolling. And as always, class dismissed.